Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're well. If you've seen this channel before, you'll know that we got a lot of time on Joe Stunner Boxing for the little guys. You know, those little tiny fellas who throw 1,000 punches a fight and a ton of action, often overlooked. Very often the fights fly under the radar. So I'm going to have to make you aware of one that happened at the weekend between Ricardo Sandoval and David Jimenez. Sandoval's from America. Jimenez is Costa Rican. Jimenez came into the fight with 11 wins, no defeats, and Sandoval, who is familiar to British fans because he came over to Britain last year and knocked out Jay Harris with a body punch. Sandoval's only 23. He came in with 20 wins and 1 points defeat. So this was, I think this was a final eliminator for a belt, World Championship title shot, WBO I think. But regardless of that, it was 12 rounds of just fantastic fighting. I mean, it was such a close fight, incredibly close fight, difficult to score. I can't remember the last time I saw a fight that was this close, but I mean, the first round I gave it 10-10. I almost never give drawn rounds. I don't like drawn rounds, but I just couldn't separate them. And from then on in, I mean, so many of the rounds were swing rounds. You could have given it to either guy. Now, I made this fight 113. We'll go into the fight in a minute, but I made it 113, or was it 114? It was 114, 113 to David Jimenez of Costa Rica. Is it David or David? David, I don't know. Well, Jimenez won it for me by a point. But if you say, no, it was a couple of points the other way, I got no argument. This was an incredibly close fight, action-packed. Sandoval, of course, at the end was gutted that he lost. Jimenez was just absolutely elated. The emotion poured out of him. And you can understand why, because this was such it was this type of fight where you leave everything in the ring. Both guys, absolute credit to themselves and the sport. So anyway, Jimenez, like I said, came in 11-0 with 9 KO, so heavy hands. Sandoval, only 1 points defeat, but, you know, good record, 20 wins and 15 KOs. And, you know, you were thinking, well, this is going to end in a knockout or a stoppage. And Jimenez, by the way, is 30, which compared to Sandoval's 23 is quite a big age gap, especially for the little guys. But the first round I gave a draw. The next 2 rounds I gave to Jimenez, and then the next 2 I gave to... No, I didn't. Next two rounds I gave to Jimenez, and then the next 2 rounds, 4 and 5, I gave to Sandoval. And then the 6th I gave to, I think it was Sandoval. But again, such close rounds. So I had it 3, 2 and 1 at the halfway point in favour of Sandoval. Now things started to get a bit funky in middle from the second half of the fight. Because in the 7th round, for some reason, a referee took a point off Jimenez. I have absolutely no idea why. Holding, he said, but when they were up close, they were working on the inside. I didn't see, and I didn't even hear a warning, but I didn't see any real infringement of the rules from Jimenez. And Jimenez kind of took it better than I would have done, because he was like, oh, you know, but he kind of smiled. Oh, well. He was philosophical about it on the spot. It came back, and in the middle rounds, to me, I felt that after that point coming off, in the 8th round, that was in the 7th round, in the 8th round, Sandoval started to put a bit more pressure on and he was fighting Jimenez's fight, but he was actually winning some rounds, edging some rounds. Now, one of the great paradigms, paradoxes, you might say, of boxing is that very often you'll get 2 very contrasting styles, and they'll come together to fit together perfectly for a great fight. And I think this was one of those fights, because Jimenez had lots and lots of movement, bouncing around, jumping in, very, very busy, as you'd expect from these guys. I think are light flyweights or flyweights. But Sandoval, very much more of a stand-up, a more compact, static fighter, very intent on precision, on throwing meaningful punches, not clusters where you might throw 3, 4, 5 punches, but only 2 really have any great meaning, are going to land. But in a sense, Jimenez, although he was throwing some wasteful punches, his busyness caught the eye, whereas Sandoval probably should have been throwing more punches. Was a bit too precise. He was a bit too intent on being precise. But anyway, I can't remember exactly what I had. It was very, very close up to the 11th round. But in the 11th round, the pendulum swung again, because Jimenez, right at the end of the round, it was a round he was winning, floored Sandoval with a chopping right hand. They were up close, exchanging. And this is the danger of fighting another guy's fight, which Sandoval was doing. Even though he was winning rounds, he was giving Jimenez a chance to get in close and do his own work. Sure enough, Jimenez chops a right hand over and sends Sandoval to one knee. And it was at the end of the round, end of the 11th round, which was just as well, to be honest. Sandoval got up and was shaken, rattled, but he knew where he was, and he wasn't. It's not like his legs were rubber. He was shaken though. And Jimenez, for the last 15 seconds, chased him around the ring. He clearly won the round on a 10-8 for me. Now, that made it even for me on my card. And it was all to play for. They let it all hang out in the final round. And I edged it to Jimenez, David Jimenez, Costa Rican fighter. Like I say, I gave it 114. Did I give it? Yeah, 114, 113 to Jimenez over Sandoval. Again, I repeat, could have gone either way. A terrific fight, very, very difficult to score. Jimenez was elated, but you know, what price a rematch? I mean, this was an eliminator for one of the belts. Whoever wins that belt should give, well, it's going to be, let's say that Jimenez wins the belt, he should give Sandoval a rematch, because the kid's earned it. He's only 23, the kid's earned it. Fantastic fight. It's on DAZN. It was on the undercard of the Ryan Garcia, Javier Fortuna fight. Go over and have a look at it. Well worth looking at. And yeah, fabulous fight. What did you think if you saw it? Leave your comments below. Please do. I like to see them. I always enjoy reading your comments. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. That always helps us. Hit the like button. That helps the channel too. Thanks for your time as always. We need more fights like this one in boxing. And pay attention to the little guys. These little guys, there's some terrific fights go on, and they slide under the radar. It's not fair, but hey. Anyway, thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. We will speak again soon, and until then, bye for now.